So I watched Eternals last night. Going into it, I had very low expectations. I was sitting there with my girlfriend, my brother. I was talking to my girlfriend about it, and I was like, yeah, like you know me, I love MCU movies, but like my expectations for this movie are really low just because I don't know anything about these characters. I don't know anything about the story, and the trailers to me haven't been that great. I love Richard Madden from Rocket Man, and that's about it. I saw the Rotten Tomatoes score going in. I really don't like I have no problem with Rotten Tomatoes, but I really don't like judging a movie based off its Rotten Tomatoes score, so I was trying to just ignore it. But I did see that it was pretty polarizing, and I can see why. But after watching the movie, I can honestly say I thoroughly enjoyed Eternals. Honestly, probably my main complaint is just that it's really long, and there's a lot in the movie. I did think it was a little long, but I was never bored. I felt a similar way about Dune. I really liked Dune, and Dune by no means is for everyone. I also don't think this movie is for everyone, but Dune was pretty long. It was about the same runtime as Eternals, and I never really felt bored in Dune, though, even though it was really long. And I know some people would, and that's why it's not for everyone, at least I don't think. But regardless, with Eternals, I'll just jump on some of the things I really liked and some of the things I didn't like. I thought the characters were really strong. Like, I actually really liked the characters, save for I didn't really like Thena. I honestly didn't like her that much. I thought they kind of not wasted her character, and I'm sure they'll do more with her, but I wasn't a huge fan of her. I was most looking, and this is going to be a spoiler talk, by the way, at least for some of this. I'll announce spoilers before I go into them. I was really looking forward to seeing Icarus in the movie, again, just because he was played by Richard Madden, and I loved him in Rocket Man. But everyone else I also thought was really, really good, and I thought that, especially the actor, the one Eternal, who's like a Bollywood star, I don't know the actor's name, but he was really funny. And his little sidekick was also really, really funny. Sprite, I actually... my girlfriend thought Sprite was really annoying. I actually did enjoy Sprite a lot more than I thought I was going to. I thought she had some pretty funny, a couple of funny scenes, and actually a really good character arc. I was expecting all of the Eternals to have the same superpower, and they follow the same general aesthetic, but they do all have different powers, which is pretty cool. The whole, like, a lot of the concepts that they tackle in this movie, I understand why this movie doesn't work for, like, half of the people out there. It does try to do a lot, and for me it worked. Like, I've heard some people say that by the end of the movie they just feel lost. I didn't feel that. I thought it was pretty easy to follow and easy to understand why everyone was doing what they were doing. Again, I thought the way they were telling the story was interesting. They kind of go back and forth from the present day to, you know, different points in the past. Again, some people, it didn't really work for them to tell it that way, and I completely understand that. But for me, I honestly thought it was fine. I thought it did its job pretty well. I don't really know what I'm going to say here, so I'm just going to put a spoiler warning, because I know I'm going to talk about the post-credit scene and post-credit scenes, and I also want to talk about the third act of the movie, so spoiler alert. So yeah, feel free to click off the video if you haven't seen the movie or don't want to get it spoiled for you. One part that really stood out to me in this movie was Aramesh. I think that's the red Celestial's name. He basically tells Cersei that there is a Celestial that has been planted in the center of the earth. That kind of, like, conceptually blew my mind for whatever reason. Like, I was sitting there and I was like, whoa, they are fucked. Like, the thought of a Celestial this whole time being inside the earth and just kind of, like, sleeping or growing, and, you know, whether he's taken on a physical state that entire time is up for debate, but some people are going to find it strange, but I actually thought it was, like, a cool idea. And then, obviously, the third act sees Icarus turn on them, and Sprite actually joins him for a little while. And there's this big fight scene where Festus and Thena and Cersei and Druig, which Druig was cool. I really liked Druig. And the speedster, the deaf girl, I forget her name. But they were all just going in on Icarus. It was like a 4 or 5 on 1. And it was so cool. I genuinely thought that was a really, really cool set piece. Celestial starts to wake up. It's when its hands were coming out of the ground, I actually thought it was its head. And I realized, oh wait, that's just a finger, which I thought was really cool. But it does raise some questions, though. Like my brother said, when the movie kind of lost him for a second, when he saw the big hand coming out of the ground, and he was just like, okay, what? You know, I'm glad they end up killing that Celestial, because I feel like you can't really just let it sleep. That would have caused way too many questions in the future. Like, if there is a Celestial that is still alive, living in the Earth, the Avengers are never going to take their eyes off of it. It just isn't. You can't ignore that. The one plot point I think I really didn't like as much was the Deviants. I was worried going in that they were just going to be big CGI monsters for them to fight, and for the most part, that's true. I guess the main villain, if you can even call him that, of the movie, the big main Deviant, he ends up becoming, like, intelligent, and not quite, I don't want to say sentient, but he ends up becoming intelligent, and he explains that that's kind of, like, what he's wanted from the beginning, which I thought was interesting, but in the end, like, I didn't think they were the greatest, you know, big CGI monsters for them to fight in the world. Yeah, that was that. I'm sure there's still stuff I'm missing from the movie, because it was just so packed, but I do want to talk about the post-credit scenes, because there were two of them. The second one didn't really surprise me. The first one really surprised me. So, you know, half of the Eternals that go off into space are on their ship, and this like little troll comes out, and immediately I was like, okay, I recognize him, but I don't know why I recognize him. And he starts doing this preamble, and I'm sitting there, and I'm like, okay, are they about to introduce Adam Warlock? Like, is that what's going to happen? And it was fucking Harry Styles playing Star Fox. I was like, what what? That caught me so off guard. Harry Styles is playing Thanos' brother, which is just crazy. I think that's so cool, and I was not expecting it at all. So that was really cool, and our theater got a pretty huge kick out of that. It was actually really funny, because when that post-credit scene started to play, it was like all ominous, and someone's phone went off, and it was the Old Spice jingle. It was so funny. I had to try so hard not to laugh. But anyway, then the second post-credit scene sees Kit Harington's character about to take his ebony blade and become the Black Knight. Then a mysterious voice asks him if he's ready for that, which we questioned at first might be Nick Fury, but then I was like, no, that is not Nick Fury's voice. That's not Sam Jackson's voice. So I don't know who that is, but I'm sure someone else on the internet more knowledgeable than me will figure it out. But yeah, closing thoughts, I really liked Eternals. I was impressed because it made me excited to see the future of these characters, especially that Star Fox thing at the end. That just caught me so off guard, and I was like, okay, dude, the Eternals, like, they're cool. They passed the vibe check. I could see them hanging with some of the Guardians of the Galaxy or Thor or, you know, some of the other cosmic entities. But anyway, that's what I thought about Eternals. You know, I do think a lot of audience members are really going to like this movie, but it's not going to be for everyone. And I completely understand that. I do recommend seeing this movie. It's not like one of the best MCU movies out there, but I would say for me, it's in the top half, at least. Regardless, hope someone out there enjoyed, and I'll see you in the next one.